Recently, I was approached by Wise Food Storage to carry their camping line of portable foods along with these storage buckets. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, go to h1ker.com/store. Enjoy the review.
There we go. So I got my scissors. Currently, I believe there's a bit of a delay on these because so many people, are trying to stock up and the tsunami and the earthquake and that kind of stuff. But I got this pretty quickly. Packages in good shape. They ship directly from Utah, and of course all this stuff's made in the United States and everything, and packaged there. So yeah, I just kind of open the box. There we go. Sweet. So there's my sample pack, and when you first get it, it looks like completely sealed plastic rim here, and you just sort of pull this and tear it back. But I'm going to go through a few different tests and experiments with this, because the whole idea is that if there was an emergency and you needed to, get your family out of your house because maybe there's a flood, but you need, food if maybe you're going to be displaced or something like that, you could just run into your food supply closet, grab this by the handle, and then just take off. Also, what's nice about this, if you were in a basement and that's where you've got your pantry, or maybe you've got like a tornado store or something like that, even if this is shaken or dropped or whatever, the food inside is not necessarily going to be spoiled, and it's all individually packed inside. But this container itself, I believe, is watertight, so I'm going to do some experiments with that here in a minute, and just again talk about how this product functions, because this product's a lot more than just food. It's sort of the way the food is stored and packaged, and that's what makes it effective. And so that's what I'm going to be testing. Hey there, so I'm at a little pond, and I thought I'd put this in the water and just see how durable it is and see if it's watertight, because if there's a flood or something and you have these in your basement, you don't want the food to go bad. So I'm going to just toss this in and take off my shirt. There we go. Get my trusty goggles back on here for a second. So I'm just going to head in with this. The interesting thing is this one's not completely full, so it's potentially like a flotation device. You could kind of use it as a that kind of thing, and it's still completely watertight at this point. A little bit muddy. Now what I want to do is just see if any water's gotten in. So you can imagine if you had been in a flood or something, and you're coming back to your house, or the basement's flooded, and you've got this is emergency food. So the idea is that it's still good, and there's a plastic seal here. So if you just tear that, rip this off, yes, both sides. There we go. There. Yeah. Oh. It didn't. It's leaked a little bit actually. So interesting. I guess the good thing is that each food item is individually packed. So even though this bucket wasn't quite watertight when I was holding it and floating, a little bit got in, and the food that's inside, however, is still packaged and still good. So on to our next test. So the last test I did involved water, and a little bit got in, but considering I was paddling around with it and everything, it held up all right. The next test, I want to perform sort of a stress test on this bucket, because the idea is that this would be in your house or in your camping gear or something, and potentially, if there was an earthquake or whatever, you wouldn't want the bucket to break. And so, I'm going to kind of toss some rocks on it and just see how stable the thing is. Broken already. Well, actually, the bucket got bent a little bit, but still in decent shape, and the lid can still go on. Still support my weight. Still act as sort of a
chair or whatnot. Pretty heavy rocks. I'm going to take this one up again. Let's see. So again, the bucket's still in pretty decent shape. The food inside that's individually packaged, you know, hasn't been, it's still completely sealed, which is good. And considering I just tossed a big rock onto it, the lid is still in decent shape, and you could kind of fit it back together, and you could still carry this thing around. So, you know, kind of 50-50. So the other conclusion about the bucket is it didn't crack. It sort of bent when I tossed rocks onto it, and frankly, you know, this is a pretty useful item if there was a disaster or an emergency. Not only can you use the handle and you could carry around items and the food that's inside, but if you've gone through the food, you know, you can take this out, and you could use this to transport water back and forth to your house or whatever, and then filter that water and use the water for the food. So, you know, I'm pretty impressed with this design, and especially the square, because, you know, these are going to fit together better than some of those circular buckets, and the plastic isn't the kind that just cracks immediately. It took some pretty, you know, blunt force impact back there and held up well. So considering the 25-year lifetime warranty on the food that's inside and the durability of this bucket, it's a pretty good product.